This video will walk you through the process of finding local level data on youth suicidal ideation, attempt, and self-harm, and specifically for taking a look at any health disparities we see for these measures. From the Minnesota Department of Education website, in the Data Center, simply click on Data Reports and Analytics. And from the menu that pulls up, scroll to the very bottom and select Minnesota Student Survey Reports 2013 to 2019. This page will provide a little bit more information on the Minnesota Student Survey, what it is and which grade levels are surveyed. And from the drop-down menu at level, you can drill down to the county or the district level. For this example, we'll select Anoka-Hennepin. Data on this site are currently available for 2013 through 2019. The 2022 Minnesota Student Survey is currently in the field, and those data should become available on the site in 2023. To take a look at suicidal ideation, attempt, and self-harm, from the category dropdown, select mental health. Importantly, while grades 5, 8, 9, and 11 were surveyed, the fifth graders are not asked questions about suicide and self-harm. So you'll only be able to pull data for 8th, 9th, and 11th graders. For this report, we'll select 9th graders. And then to see disparities, you can use the demographics table below. So in this case, we can take a look at data by gender, by race, ethnicity, whether or not students reported receiving free or reduced price lunch, by sexual orientation, by special education status, and by gender identity. So in this case, we're going to take a look at Anoka-Hennepin 9th graders who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, or questioning. Once we run the report, the first measures that will come up are measures of long-term mental health issues, depression, and anxiety. These are followed by some items from the Search Institute's developmental assets on positive sense of identity. And then scrolling down to the bottom of the page is where we'll find data on self-harm and suicidal ideation. So in this first set, you can see that 58.7% of Anoka-Hennepin 9th graders who identify as LGBTQ reported not harming themselves by burning, bruising, or cutting in the past 12 months. To find out the number or the percentage of students who identify as LGBTQ who did report self-harm, you can simply sum the percentages in this column from 19.1 to 7.8. For the items on ever considering attempting suicide, so suicidal ideation, and actually attempting suicide, these items are mark all that apply. So some students could say that they considered suicide in the past year and or considered suicide more than a year ago. So it's important that you don't simply sum these percentages, but rather subtract that 44.6% who did not consider suicidal ideation from 100%. In this case, we can see that about 1/3 of Anoka-Hennepin 9th graders who identify as LGBTQ reported that yes, in the past year, they seriously considered attempting suicide. If you scroll back up to that main menu and from the demographics category, pick heterosexual and run the report, scrolling down to the bottom for that same item, we see that 10.6% of Anoka-Hennepin 9th graders who identify as heterosexual considered suicide in the same year. So in this case, you can see that students who identified as heterosexual are about 1/3 as likely to have considered suicidal ideation in the past year compared to LGBTQ students. And you can run similar reports looking for differences by gender identity, race, ethnicity, and other factors.